a Christian, okay, a born again Christian, sinner or saint?
Born again Christian?
Born again Christian, are they a sinner? Are they a sinner, or are they a saint? Not can they be saintly or can they sin, but what are they?
Uh, I think both are true. Here's why. We are saints in the eyes of God. We have Christ standing. I believe that with all my heart. But yet I know that's if we don't recognize the potential of inward corruption, or if we don't recognize the presence of inward corruption, it doesn't lend itself to humbling ourselves before God. It doesn't lend itself to looking to the Lord for grace and for constant need. So I think like we hold both these things in tension, in my opinion. And I would love to hear your thoughts on this, because we are holy because of Jesus. But if I don't realize that I still have inward darkness, then where is the need to run to the physician? Where is the need to realize him as all sufficient if I can't see I'm insufficient? And I think that phrase, I am a sinner, we are sinners, I think that lends itself more to, Lord, I need salvific continuation. I need you to save me again and again. In a sense, obviously I'm eternally saved, but there's that consistent salvific experience, in a sense, every day. I mean, if I read through Valley of Vision, have you read through Valley of Vision? It is a masterpiece. It's put together by Arthur Bennett, and it is just a conglomeration of all the best Puritans and their prayers. It's just prayers, the whole book. It's wonderful. But there is a heavy emphasis on need. I need you, God. And I think that connects to the understanding that I still have a present disposition of darkness, in a sense, but yet my standing in Christ, as I hide in Christ, is perfection, in a sense. So, what do you think?
Yeah, no, the way you said it, I think is amazing. The way you worded it, I would say very, very similar, very, very similar. I think maybe what I would slightly tweak is I would say that by nature we are saints. Meaning by nature, there has a transformed work of grace has taken place that has made us something other than what we were, which I think you would agree with that whole, as well. And so our nature, I would see as saintly, but salvation is not final. So that I need you, God, to me is rooted into two things. Number one, the cry of Paul to be clothed with immortality in 2 Corinthians. Remember, he says, like, I'm one inwardly groaning. Even when he talks about it, Romans chapter 8, like creation itself is groaning. It's groaning to be clothed with life. Is life not present within? No, life is present within as a guarantee, as a down payment. But God clothed, so that although I want to become fully what you've made me to be on the inside. So there's that. And then the other part of the need, I believe, is rooted in the more that we are in him, in fact, or in him, the more that it precipitates a greater hunger and a need for him, because like the Christ is perfectly holy, but none has exemplified and eternally exemplifies a dependency upon the Father so that he himself can be the Son, like the Christ. So for us to even live, like there's that passage in, did we read it last time? Maybe not, in John chapter 6, where he talks about eating his flesh, drinking his blood. Mark in John 6, where he talks about eating his flesh, drinking his blood, he says, those who eat my flesh, right, and drink my blood, he says, live, for in the same way I live because of the Father. So he's pretty much saying, like, you need to feed on me to live, and I'm showing you the way I live eternally so before the Father, because I feed on him. Do you know what I mean? So it's
beautiful.
But so I would say, as far as like the way I would define the corruption is, I would say that we are corruptible, but not corrupted. Now that we're born again. Yeah. Meaning we have the potential to be corrupted. And because we are salvation is an ongoing process, meaning we were saved, but we are being saved. And we ultimately look to when we will be saved and free from even from the pull of sin until we get that glorified body. The pull of sin is always there, even as you're being saved and being made holy. And so I would say that that's connected to an unsubmitted will, that's connected to an unregenerate or unrenewed mind that has constant onslaught, the arrows of the enemy, the pull of the world system that is always appealing to us, and whatever is of Adam in us that has not been glorified yet, obviously, until we receive that glorified body, that is still room that the appeal is, you feel it. You know, like when you have like an infection, like a pimple somewhere, somebody just presses it. It's like, oh, I felt that. You know what I mean? Like in our souls, whatever is not yet glorified can feel it if you push it. You know what I mean? Like lust touches you there. You know what I mean? Like you feel that. You know what I mean? Like pride, greed, whatever. But I would see it as we have the capacity to be corrupted rather than by nature we are corrupted like we were before. But it is nuanced. I would see it as nuanced. So I would say we are saints who have the capacity to sin to the degree, like you worded it, that we don't live in constant need for the ongoing presence, word, and purifying of God. You know what I mean? Which is like, that's life itself that's what we're faced. That in some ways you could say is like if we want to use the term war or the battle or the, anyways.
So there's a statement in Valley Vision. Tell me if you agree with it or not. He says, if thou didst not hold me back, I would be a devil incarnate. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that as a believer, speaking as a believer,
as
right?
a believer, yeah. If thou didst not hold me back, I would be a devil incarnate.
Yeah, so I would say yes, from the perspective of, if I would say this, if the gospel was not a transformed nature, where the Spirit of God himself, the person and personality of God now literally intermingles himself with my own person, then there was no way I would desire him or have the power to commune with him or obey him. And so from that perspective, if the gospel was not the gospel, 100%. In light of the fact that the gospel is the gospel, I would say, I would word it as if your grace was not if I'm not consistently receiving of your grace, then I will become a devil incarnate. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you see what I'm saying? So I would see it not from the perspective of like, hold me back because there is a new nature, meaning like by nature, I am something different. But if your grace does not bleed into my life every day, I will tend towards depravity in greater and greater measures. The farther, they build their houses farther and farther from Eden. They keep going eastward in Genesis. You know what I mean? So that would be me,
So good, man.